Okay, Your Excellency, thanks so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Of course, so I know you have a long history, long resume, one of the longest at the AU, with your work specifically honing in on industrialization in Africa,
Yes.
which aligns directly with Unstoppable Africa and the mission that what we're doing here. So tell me more about Unstoppable Africa and why you push the same mission as what we're doing.
Well, the process of industrialization has a number of actors. You've got the miners, or the mining companies producing raw materials. We've got the farmers producing raw materials. Then from there, you move to agro-processing, or even the processing of mineral resources. That's where the manufacturers come in. Then you've got the innovators, the young people, coming up with the industrial designs so that they are able to come up with the uniquely African manufactured goods, like in the fashion industry. So all those things are issues that we are promoting, right from the production, primary production, to processing, innovation, and export to the rest of the world and the export within Africa. The African Union has delivered a number of programs where we would like the private sector to leverage. I can give examples. The African Continental Free Trade Area. It's a platform for market development. For RED to work, the African investors and investors from the rest of the world should come and produce in Africa. And what they produce should be traded within Africa and traded with Africa and the rest of the world. That's one platform. The next platform is credit rating. Africa faces unfair credit rating. So as a result of that, the heads of state and government came up with an idea to create the African Credit Rating Agency with a position that it must be driven by the African private sector. So we like now the African private sector to come on board, invest in the African Credit Rating Agency. Mauritius has offered to host it. Mauritius is one of the only two African countries with investment grade, Mauritius and Botswana. So when it's in Mauritius, it's safe in terms of investment because the investment climate is there. So these are some of the measures that we're undertaking to impress the African private sector to invest. Because as we move Africa forward, we need private investments, we need public investments. Those are critical to ensure that we have a pool of resources which can make a difference, transform African lives.
Nice, so we need...
And the private sector is a source of job creation.
Yes, so I like what you said, we need both public and private investments.
Yes.
And what type of industries do you think needs the most investments in Africa?
First and foremost, Africa must feed herself. Yes. And for Africa to feed herself, we must produce. The farmers should produce large scale agricultural products, varied agricultural products. And then we should develop sanitary and phytosanitary standards so that when the agricultural produce goes to the market, it's of good quality. And it does not waste very rapidly. So that is very, very important. So all these issues indicate the importance of the private sector. We need them. And when it comes to manufactured goods again, for you, look at what I'm wearing, what we are wearing.
Yes.
If we could have industrial designers, that would be very good.
Yes.
So that we have got uniquely African textiles, among others.
Yes. Very well statement to Africa. And when people look back and say, this is your legacy, what do you want people to say?
I'm coming to the end of my mandate. When the rest of Africa looks back to say, what did I do in my portfolio? I can point out a number of achievements. With the team, we delivered the African Continental Free Trade Area. It's a large market, 1.4 billion people, which is growing. So the private sector has a huge market space to invest in. Then we created the African Credit Rating Agency in partnership with our colleagues at the African Peer Review Mechanism. That is going to really make Africa the investment influencer of the world. Then for the manufacturers, we've come up with a common African standard. We've got an African quality policy. And on the basis of that, we're coming up with the Made in Africa qualification framework, so that the labels will not be made in this country, African country, but made in Africa. To reach out to that big market of 1.4 billion people and growing.
Yes.
And we have also created the African Trade Observatory.
Yep.
If an investor wants to really find out trade opportunities across Africa, they just go to the observatory. They'll get information on policies, patterns of intra-African trade, and so forth. And we're in the process of creating the African Virtual Investment Platform, which is going to work more like the African Trade Observatory, to provide information and data in the area of investments. So these are just a sampling of what we have. And of course, we do not overlook the women and youth. For the women, we've come up with the Women in Process program, where where we are trying to interest women to own factories and manufacture goods.
Nice.
For the youth, we have established the African Youth Startup Program. And we are challenging them that in the next few years, some of you must grow your startups into unicorns valued at $1 billion or more. Yeah. So that's just a sampling.
Yes.
And I'll be looking back to say, I was given the opportunity to serve Africa. I delivered. I would have delivered more, but what I've delivered has impact.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right.